Hey everyone, it's Graham Coleman with Daily Xtra, and I'm talking about Sundance with Peter Knegt, a contributing editor at IndieWire and regular contributor here at Daily Xtra. Thanks for speaking with us.
No problem.
So can you tell us what LGBT films we can find at Sundance this year?
Yeah, I mean, like any year, Sundance has historically been pretty amazing at premiering really, really great LGBT films. This year is definitely no different. There's probably about 15 to 17 films with varying degrees of LGBT content that screen there this year. And definitely one of the most anticipated ones, which premiered a couple days ago, is I Am Michael, which is James Franco's like 25th time playing a queer man on screen, and it's gotten actually really good reviews, especially for James Franco's performance.
Okay.
It's a true story of a gay journalist living in San Francisco, played by Franco, who at one point has a boyfriend played by Zachary Quinto, but it's sort of his life begins to unravel as he has a mental breakdown and turns to Christianity and becomes, a very famous example of the ex-gay movement. And there's a New York Times article about that Gus Van Sant saw. He executive produced it, and yeah, it's definitely been the talk at the festival.
And it's also a big year for documentaries at Sundance.
Yeah, there's two in particular that are definitely getting a lot of buzz. One is Larry Kramer in Love and Anger, which is a really beautiful take on the life of Larry Kramer, who's this incredible gay activist and writer who wrote the plays The Normal Heart and the book Faggots. He's 78 years old. He's not doing that well, so it sort of chronicles his life and where he's at right now, assumingly potentially in his final days.
And we have to talk about pop-up porno, which is a completely other type of documentary.
Yeah, I mean, pop-up porno, oddly enough, the director Stephen Dunn, who lives here in Toronto, is a Toronto-based project, one of many Canadian projects that are at Sundance this year. He has a distinction of tying James Franco for the most amount of projects at Sundance this year.
Wow.
James Franco has 3, and Stephen Dunn also has 3, and they're all short films in this pop-up porno series, which basically takes various people's experiences on dating apps from Grindr to Tinder, straight and gay. There's one specifically called M4M that details very hilariously a man's experience using Grindr in New York City. But the distinct thing about it is that he uses he worked with graphic designers to take these stories, with real stories that people told him, and turn them into pop-up, like the pop-up books, and then film them. So it's a really gorgeous and sort of experimental way to talk about this kind of thing.
So what else can we find at Sundance this year?
I mean, definitely one that a lot of people are talking about, and it's also Canadian, is the Amina profile. It's directed by Sophie Duraspe, I think. I apologize if that's not correct. It's a documentary about a Montreal woman who begins an online relationship with a Syrian woman who's in the midst of sort of the conflict going over there at the time.
The last thing I wanted on my conscience was wasting days or weeks debating her existence while she might have been in a jail somewhere.
Are you sure that the gay girl in Damascus actually exists?
Well, I couldn't tell you that for sure.
And I don't want to say much more about it because what unravels is very just nuts. Like it's definitely not everything. Everything does not appear as to what it actually is with this documentary, and it ends up being a very suspenseful movie that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about. And then in a whole other sort of vein, in terms of A-list American celebrities playing in LGBT films, there's 2 that are standing out right now. One is called Nasty Baby.
Okay.
And it's director Sebastian Silva, who's made a couple films that were at Sundance before, but he stars in this movie himself as one half of a gay couple trying to make a baby with Kristen Wiig. And it's set in Brooklyn, it's getting really great reviews, so it's definitely one to look for. And then another one that shouldn't really be talked about in terms of why it's LGBT is called The D Train, and it stars Jack Black and James Marsden, and it has a sex scene that everybody at Sundance is talking about, and it's going to be what we're all going to be talking about for a while.
Who does the sex scene involve?
I mean, I named 2 people, and you can assume that maybe it's them, but I won't go into it farther. But yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for speaking with us.
No problem.